and welcome to the Weirdly Obsessed podcast. I'm Mandy Martino, and this is my co-host, Lisa Wallen. We're both stand-up comedians and based in the Los Angeles area.
And we both have weird obsessions, which is why we have this podcast, Weirdly Obsessed, where we talk about everyone's niche obsessions, their passions versus interests, and just the niche hyperfixations we find on the internet and need to talk about. And today is our first episode ever, so we deep dive into exactly what is an obsession versus someone who just likes a passion or interest, which we find out is wildly different things.
Very different. And then we get into our first segment called Uncommon Interest, where we talk about the obsession of social media, sharing, and parasocial relationships.
And if you guys enjoy our first episode, which I know you will, please like, subscribe, share to all podcast platforms, whatever you use. And if you're interested, subscribe to our Patreon, where we will be actually taking viewers' obsessions and talk about it on the podcast in special episodes. So please enjoy our first episode ever of Weirdly Obsessed.
Woo!
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yay.
First episode. We're doing it. Mm-hmm. You're here. Thank you for being here. I have to take a drink or it's bad luck.
Yeah. Apparently you're also supposed to look in people's eyes when you cheer, which I think is so creepy. Anytime anyone's like, you have to look in my eyes, I'm like, no, I don't. Not at all. But anyways, yes. Hi, everyone. It's our first episode ever as I look into both cameras. Let's do our intro. We are the Weirdly Obsessed. This is the Weirdly Obsessed podcast with me, one of your hosts, Lisa Wallen, and
me, the other host, Mandy Martino.
The beautiful host for this. Let's just talk about, how did this even happen, basically?
So Lisa and I met. I had her on my podcast, and I just needed more Lisa.
Yep, there you go. She got really weirdly obsessed with me, and then I'm now on the podcast. Yes, I did the Mandy Loves Misery podcast, free promo, and it was amazing. And I was like, wow, Mandy has amazing energy, and she's you're a great producer of your own podcast and a great host, and you have a beautiful setup, and our energy matched really well. And then you reached out to me and was like, would you want to start a podcast with me? I'm like, yes, I would love one. And then we were thinking about ideas of what to come up with. And I was like, well, my noggin is crazy. And I guess we might as well just talk about why we wanted to start this podcast. For one thing, both Mandy and I do stand-up comedy. Mm-hmm. But me, outside of comedy, I also stream on Twitch. I do I'm in a lot of fandoms, which is something we'll talk about at some point. But I also have diagnosed OCD that used to greatly affect my life negatively. And I've somehow managed to turn it into a positive thing, even though it still affects my life negatively. And I wanted to present that to Mandy and was like, hey, would you want to do a podcast where we talk about, people's obsessions, the weird things that they're into, the niche things that they love, hyperfixations, things that I think really define people. Because when you do comedy podcasts, you always have guests on there that are comedians. They always have funny stories and stuff. But like the things that interest me are the ones where people are deep diving in the shit that they don't normally want to talk about. Because when you hear them talk about it, you're like, this is a brand new version of you I've never seen before. And so I think it's just a fantastic idea.
Yeah, I was like, I am sold because I've always gotten I am not diagnosed with OCD. I am with ADHD. I've got my CD, as you said. But I've always gotten so fixated. I was telling Lisa how I used to collect pigs for all of elementary school, all of high school. I was obsessed with Billie Joe Armstrong.
And she's turned into a hybrid pig Billie Joe Armstrong person. It's crazy.
My dreams have come true. So I think this is something that we have so much to talk about with people online, our own stories, something trending in the news. It's endless.
It is. And to prep for this podcast, like we started going over the things that we are currently obsessed with, like, skincare was our big one. You mentioned Billie Joe Armstrong and whatnot. And then Mandy went even further and went online and just started looking up like people's weird fixations and obsessions. And it's just you start to realize there's a big difference between someone being obsessed with someone and someone just liking something.
Yes.
Yeah. Like you looked up the actual definition of obsession.
I will read them because I can't memorize it.
Which I will pull up right now. There we go.
No, I just really wanted to understand before we got into this topic, like all of the different types of obsessions and the depths that it goes into. So one of the main things that popped up was the first one was a passion, the difference between a passion and an interest. And it says a genuine passion or deep interest in particular subject can lead to an obsession. When people are enthusiastic about something, they may decide a significant amount of time and energy into it. So the difference between a passion and an obsession. So is a passion just a pre-obsession?
Not, you know what? I try to write a joke about this. Like, obviously, as people can tell who are watching versus just listening, I have tattoos of all sorts of anime characters
just a
in
few.
Video games. Just a few. Only my entire body. And like this, there's like one character in particular is tattooed on my hand that I obviously was very obsessed with. And in my head, I was like, I'm going to show so many people the show. And I watched it with my sister and she was like, it's called Mob Psycho 100. And she watched it and she was like, that was really good. I was like, that's it? She's like, yeah, that was really good. And then moved on. I was like, how do you just move on from that? I was like, I have to like, that's how I know it's an obsession, is that like, I will watch a movie and be like, that was a good movie. Mm-hmm. But if I'm obsessed with it, I'm like, that was a good movie. Now it's my whole personality for 6 months. Like, I have to follow every smut artist on Twitter. I have to find everyone who writes fan fiction. I have to find the fandom. I have to infiltrate them, get it tattooed on my body. This is my sign off. This is how I sign off, is I'm like, I did all the things. Now I mark it on my body like a trophy after a murder and I move on.
That is like fucking sign off if I've ever seen one.
Obviously not everyone does it the way I do, but that's the difference, is that like if you genuinely like something and you're like, that's good, you know, like great movie, great TV show, great book, like it'll put on my list of favorites and move on. But it's like the ones that's like, no, I connected with this in a way that is dangerous.
Mm-hmm. That's why I hate showing people my favorite movies or shows, because their reaction is always underwhelming. And I can't even enjoy watching it because I'm watching them watch it and then just like, God damn it.
Yeah, and it's also the same thing with like when we talked about skincare and stuff. It's like I have friends that just have like really good skincare routines, but it's like, no, I need a deep dive and know what every single thing I put on my body is, all the ingredients. Like I went to Japan with my friend and like first thing we did was look at skincare. Like we bought all this SPF really cheap, which I gifted to you.
Oh, I love it.
And we bought face masks, and it was just like, this is like beyond. And then I realized like, oh, Japan is just a place people go to like find their fixations and obsessions. Like I went there for anime, you go there for J-pop, people are going there for skincare, and it was just like, that is the difference, is that we went so out of our way, and I still into the days I'm like always trying to find new things to like put on my body, and my face is oily today because I tried a new product. Like it's that is the obsession. And sometimes obsessions can be really, really healthy for you. Like I think a skincare obsession is really healthy, but the problem with OCD is that it's usually not. Like, why can I get obsessed with eating a salad or like going to the gym, but instead I get addicted to a drug?
It's so true. That's like everybody's joke about, like, Amy Schumer has a joke about blacking out. She's like, why can't I just black out and clean my room?
Yeah, right.
Like, that would be nice.
Why can't my obsession be healthy for me and not fixate on men with like ketamine addictions? Like, why can't it be like, oh, I'm obsessed with like reading good books about my health? No, instead it's video game characters I want to fuck. There you go.
That one's sad because it can never happen. Oh, maybe in the future. You know what?
With AI, maybe in the future, I can fuck Snake from Metal Gear Solid. We never know.
Nothing is impossible. Okay, so more of my definitions. Let's go.
Again.
So the next it talked about escape or coping mechanisms is why a lot of people get into obsessions. So also, like, I feel like I'm in class when you have to read out loud. I'm like, God, I hope I say these words right.
I love it. I love it.
So it says obsessions can serve as a way for individuals to escape from stress, anxiety, or other challenging aspects of life. Emerging. I thought there was a G in emerging.
Emerging.
There's no G. Emerging.
Immersive. Like immersive.
Immersing.
Yeah. If you merge something together versus something being immersive, like you're immersed into it, you're like deep into it. Yeah.
I've always said emerging.
Emerging, I think, is a different word, but it
It's
doesn't
merging.
matter. We'll talk about that on a future episode.
Immersing oneself in a particular interest can provide a temporary reprieve from reality.
I mean, video games aren't a good escape. Like, actually, this is a good example. Last night I was streaming, and the first thing I saw on stream is I had a bad day. I had a bad fucking day, and like, I just want to play video games. And I'm playing a video game that's like very hard. Like, I'm dying a lot. And one person in my chat was like, "How is this making you feel better?" I was like, "Oh, because my character's having a way worse day than I am." Like, I didn't get stabbed a bunch today. Yeah. I didn't get pinned by some arrows and beat the shit out of me by a woman. No, I just had depression.
I saw your post I saw your story on Instagram. I was like, sorry, I'm late. I'm depression.
I'm depression today. But it's true. It's like it's the same thing with like the same way people watch, like, I always say like the same way guys watch like MMA fighting. It's like, I want to beat the shell of someone, but I can't. So I watch them do it. And I'm like, yeah. Well, there you go.
I'll listen to screamo music to make me feel better. Like, can you just say like angry? Just it's like a negative plus negative equals a positive.
Yeah. Or I listen to screamo music when I'm in a good mood. But yeah. But yeah, it is a good escapism or coping mechanism. I mean, that's the reason why during the pandemic everybody was like obsessed with YouTube and like video games and Twitch and stuff, because it's like, I mean, I can't go and enjoy my life anymore. I can't see my friends. So it's like you need to have something to escape from. And then some of us just make it our whole personality. So.
When I read that, I think of like getting obsessed with a TV show and just binging. Because when you have that to look forward to, it is such a dopamine fix. When I'm like, I like can't focus on anything else until you finish that show.
And then you finish it and you're like, you feel empty. And then you have to be like me. I'm like, I need more. And I go online and be like, what else can I get? Can I get a tattoo of Danny DeVito? Will this help my It's Always Sunny addiction? Yeah.
That's like after I finish binging a show, that's when I learn everything about each actor.
You go into Wikipedia, you learn everything about them. Yeah, that's the deep dive of it. And there are people who don't have that. And that's how I realize it's a mental illness. Because like my sister she loves the same anime as me. She loves like Battlestar Galactica, Firefly, Star Trek, but has never once made it her personality. And I'm like, how did you get the good brain? I got the bad brain. And
maybe yours is the good brain.
But it is wild to me. Like, it's one of those things where it's like when people recommend me things, I have to say no to certain things. Like, especially in like gaming, like people will be like, oh, you need to play like Baldur's Gate. And I was like, how long does it take to beat? Like 300 hours? Absolutely not. Because I will spend that 300 hours in 2 weeks. Like, I can't just healthy move. Like, if I know I'm going to like it, I have to avoid things. And I don't think if people understand, like, you really do have to avoid things that you know are going to consume your life.
For sure.
Yeah. And I don't know how that relates to anyone outside of video games and anime, but I mean, I'm sure it's like a book series, maybe.
I was just going to say. I was just going to say, which is funny because Lisa and I laugh about how we're like polar opposites with a lot of our interests. But I was going to say that is how I feel with books.
Yeah.
Like right now I'm reading a book and I just want to read my book. And all of the things I need to do, I don't want to do.
That's why I won't download mobile games on my phone. I was like, my phone screen is an escape from all the other screens. Like, this is my healthy screen, and I'm spending 75% of my day scrolling through Instagram, which is actually a really good transition into today's topic.
Yeah, so we are going to get into one of our segments.
I like when we look over to our board.
We're like, we're not looking at a board.
Today, now that we talked about passions versus obsessions,
is so one of our main segments is going to be called Uncommon Interests.
Which I love. She came up with the podcast name. I came up with the segment name, though.
Yeah.
Uncommon Interest is great.
The best segment name. And we're going to talk about like an interest that we both have of our own. An uncommon. It says it by itself.
Yeah. It's an uncommon interest between us and between the world, because it's like a common interest in the world would be like the Barbie movie. An uncommon interest would be biting your fingernails and watching videos of people doing that and being like, I just want to watch videos of people doing that. And I think the funniest way and the reason why we want to do this topic first is because I think I didn't realize how bad my like hyperfixations and my exceptions were until social media got bigger because social media shows the rawest version of your brain in every way. and every website has like a different thing to it. Like for Instagram, it's like, okay, obviously, you know, we post stand-up clips, blah, blah, blah. But if you look at my algorithm, I am not watching stand-up comedy. I am watching people clean cars and pop zits. Like that is...
I always say the best way to get to know somebody is if you got to sneak into their social media feed. Like not like who they follow, just the feed that shows what you've liked. Oh God.
I really just want to know what my explore page looks like now that I think about it. It's actually pretty healthy. It's mainly cats.
Cats are good.
It's cats and food. But every once in a while, you see a video that looks gross, and I'd be like, "That's the thing that I look at past 2 a.m."
So tell me more about cleaning. What did you say? Cleaning?
I'm obsessed with cleaning. Obviously, like it's who I am. Like there's always this. I have this bit on stage about how like I have a therapist and she gave me anti-anxiety meds for my OCD and asked me like, well, how are those meds working out? And I go, well, I just clean slower now. Which is it's such a dumb like one-off joke. But like someone told me, I remember I posted on TikTok, which is a fucking mistake because somebody commented, I think it's very funny when people misconstrue OCD as like the quirky cleaning disease. I'm like, it is. Like, look, get it. OCD can be anything to anybody, okay? But like that is a big part of it is like, yeah, I clean a lot and an excessive amount to the point where it terrifies my roommate and anyone's house I go to. Like I was hooking up with somebody and I didn't even know that they knew I was clean, but they were like, oh my God, you're going to hate my apartment. It is not clean. I walked in, it was spotless. And he was
wow.
like, oh, I'm so sorry. These pillows aren't. I was like, do I just have this energy of like someone who's going to just judge? And so I love watching people clean. I play this game called Power Wash Simulator where you literally power wash things. Like I played a game called Unpacking where you unpack someone's belongings and you put it. It's like cleaning is such a part of my life. And it's like, why can't I clean my brain though?
That would be nice. Maybe that's why you like to clean the other things. What do you mean by games? Like a physical game or like an online
video game?
A video game.
Oh, I
where
wish
you
I had
clean.
a power wash. I would power wash everything. I'd probably power wash my cats if I could. No, like there's so many games. Like people, that's the thing with social media is that people see what's trending. So they see people love watching power washing videos. What if there's a video game where you could power wash things?
Wow.
And I play it. I also play, and I play video games where you get unpacked and like there's like big game called Stardew Valley where you set up a farm and you have like you feed your animals, blah, blah. It's like having tasks and organizations. It's like, again, escapism. I don't want to deal with my own problems. Like my cats wouldn't eat for like a week, but I'm feeding all my cats on Stardew Valley and making sure they're okay. You guys are fine. I'll come back to you later. But like, yeah, like social media really like shows that part of your brain because yeah, when it's late at night and you've done all the things, you've worked all the things, you're like, what's going to just make me relax? Like, what's going to put me in my like comfort zone? And it's always those things that you fixate on, you know? And it's like, I'm glad it's like, I stopped biting my nails. Like that was the big thing I stopped doing. But it's like, then I just make up for that with other things. Now I just excessively wipe things and lint roll and all this stuff. And it's just, anyways, what's your social media feed like?
So, first of all, I'm surprised I never got into pimple popping because as a girl who had a lot of pimples, I've always been cool with popping mine. Like that feels so good and so fun, but I cannot watch anyone else's pimples get popped. I can't even, if like my boyfriend will be like, can you pop? I'm like, oh, I can't do anything else. I can't.
But then it's funny too because you'll go on the pimple popping accounts and you'll see your friends are following them. I was like, I don't follow these accounts. I don't need my followers to know. But I'll go in there. It's like 45 mutual friends. Like, why are you guys watching this and letting people know you watch this? This is so weird to me.
Yeah. So no pimple popping on mine. This is one I've kind of been obsessed with for a hot minute. I love watching haircut videos.
I love haircut videos.
Oh my God. I could watch them for hours. My whole feed is so many haircut videos.
Until you try to cut your own hair.
Oh yeah, you said you cut your bangs yesterday or something, right? With kitchen scissors.
Yeah, we don't talk about that. That's the difference between interest and OCD is that I'm like, I'm going to try this now.
I think I'm obsessed with haircut videos because I've always had long hair. If ever I've had a trim that's gone wrong, my days, like my life is ruined. My hair is my comfort zone, and I'm terrified of change. I'm a pussy when it comes to like anything fun, like dyeing your hair. This is totally my mom's fault. She's like, don't put on mascara, it'll ruin your eyelashes. Like, I've been like, as a little kid, just like, don't do anything.
Don't
like,
do anything that'll make you happy. Like, don't change your look at all.
And now it's like, I can't change my look, but I love watching other people. I live off of other people doing it. And I also know if I cut a bob, my face is too circular, I will regret it. So I
actually love your hair. Please don't change it.
Thank
so there
you.
you go. I mean, it's like, it's the same thing with me. Like, I watch people, like, I don't like watching tattoo videos because I absolutely hate the sound of the needle.
Really?
Yeah, I can't, but I'm getting a tattoo tomorrow because I'm an idiot. Like, it's like, why do I keep doing this? But like, I love watching people get crazy tattoos like on their neck and their face, because I told myself I'd never do my neck and my face or my chest or this. But it's the same thing where it's like, I don't want to do that to myself, but I want to watch someone else because it's satisfying to put. It's just the MMA fighting again. It's like, these dudes are never going to fight someone. So they watch another guy do it and be like, yeah, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean?
Same with like people who watch football, like, and then they're yelling at them to do it. Like, they're trying their best. You can't do that, man.
Trying their best. Just play a video game, because then you feel like you're doing it. That's why I love it. It's like, I am the one power washing this park, and the children are going to love me for it, and I'm going to get nothing out of it. But like, that's just like Instagram and TikTok though. Like that, like I think this is very funny. Like, you as a comedian, how much I've brought up Twitter so many times, and you're like, oh, I didn't know that. And I'm like, you don't realize what Twitter is. It's been ruined, but like, Twitter is the place to go to if you want to see what people are obsessed with.
Yeah, I've never gotten into Twitter.
Yeah, because it's like one of those things where it's like, whatever is trending is what people are talking about, versus like, if you go what's trending on Google, it's going to give you national news, like Donald Trump, blah, 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 you know? And then you go onto Twitter and it's like, Donald Trump is like 5 below 7 different K-pop stars. Because
that's
like,
very different.
Because people, especially like in fandoms and stuff, they go on like Twitter to talk about it, because it's like, you don't have to have videos, you don't have to have pictures, you can just tweet and be like, oh my god, the episode of blah 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 was amazing. And then everyone's talking about it, and it's like, that is a place where I go to where I'm like, why is everyone obsessed with this specific thing? That's how I found out Swifties were so powerful. Because Taylor Swift is always trending, and it's always for some crazy thing, not because she released a song, but because it's like, Taylor Swift shut down the blah 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 government. And it's like, what? It's yeah. And it's always like, somebody, like, there was, I think I might have mentioned this to you before, but one of the stories is from a couple years ago. There was a girl who ran a Taylor Swift like a fan account or whatever, right? And she had like a pretty big account, but then she didn't tweet for like 6 months. And then she came back. She goes, sorry, I haven't been updating you. I was in prison. Let's get back into Taylor Swift. And then everyone's like, wait.
Yeah, you can't just say that.
Pump the brakes. Why were you in prison? She goes, oh, I refused to join the Israeli military, which is illegal there. Like, if you don't join the military, you go to prison. And then she goes, but it's okay, I'm a lesbian. I just fucked everybody in there. Anyways, so Taylor has been, and everyone's like, I'm sorry, what? And then it's like, that becomes like a whole thing. And it's like, and then I'm deep diving, and that's how I found out, oh, I didn't know it was illegal not joining the military. Like, and then I find out, like, oh my gosh, like, she did not care about anything. She's like, prison was whatever. Let's talk about Taylor Swift. Like, it's like, what?
Jeez.
Like,
She's like, that's an obsession. She has this crazy shit going on in her life, and she just wants to talk about Taylor Swift.
That's her escapism, apparently. But it's like, things like that, it's like, you don't find that like anywhere else. Reddit is also really good at that too, which you found out.
Yeah. I would like to say, though, I do use Twitter, but the only time I use Twitter is if it's like 3 a.m. in the morning and I'm pretty sure there was an earthquake. If you pull up Twitter, it goes 5.3 magnitude. It's like, everyone tweets if there was an earthquake. Yep.
It's good, but if like Instagram doesn't work, I go on Twitter to see if anyone else has tweeted about it. That's why I'm like, I'm so mad that certain person that I can't name in case he wants to give us money for this podcast took over, because I'm like, you're taking away the one thing that made me feel comfortable with my obsessions. And now I have to like sneak it into all my comedy and all my pictures, you know?
So wait, what's going on? What happened to Twitter since it became, what is it called now?
X?
What
Is this, a fucking porn site? Like, names his kid X. This is a weird obsession with Elon, the letter X.
Yeah,
it's very like it's giving like 13-year-old boy listens to Limp Bizkit. Like that's what I feel when I hear that.
Oh my god.
But what happened is that there was nothing really wrong with it unless you were on the deep political end, because like, again, like anytime politics is the most sensitive thing you talk about on the internet. But I was going on Twitter to talk about fucking Mob Psycho 100. Like I wasn't, but it was like, we need to do something to protect like certain marginalized groups. But Elon was like, I don't like that certain right wingers are getting shut down. So he like buys it out. He's like, I'm going to change everything. And what he did is he messed it up. All you get is like AI advertisement. You get a bunch of porn bots, like the whole thing.
Very porn body.
And then and people who are very problematic, like saying slurs and all sorts of stuff, are coming back on the platform. Like you go on trending anything and it's all hateful.
Oh.
Or it's all like some big YouTuber or streamer said something controversial. It's just become like this weird cesspool of like of a 13-year-old boy who listens to Limp Bizkit. Like that is literally what Twitter is now. But I at the same time, it's like I still have my mutuals and my fandoms and stuff on there, and it's trying to be replaced by other things, but it's hard that it's not. Until I've switched over to Reddit, which is like, okay, I feel like that's me reverting. I went to an even bigger incel website after. But like Reddit is like, it's like Twitter, but it's like you hit your own group to talk about things, which you...
Yeah, I found a good one.
Today, actually.
Today. So we're going to have another segment every week called Trending with a Twist. And we're going to talk about either topical or Reddit, subreddits, and whatever's online that's trending right now. And I found one that I think is a topic we could both get into. So I'm going to, once again, read it.
We're going to read the topics.
Okay, so this one's kind of long. So let's see. It says, so I was just browsing on Instagram and doing my thing when I came across a fitness post. I clicked on it because I like seeing other people's progression, and I'm not one of those people who think social media is bad. I believe you can get some good out of it if you choose to do so. Anyway, I was browsing. I found out she had a user handle at the top saying mama to @user. So naturally, yeah, I know. So naturally, I already knew it was going to be fucked. I clicked on it, and all it was a bunch of photos of her newborn child.
Oh, God.
Say what you will, but that should not be okay. It's gotten so bad, there's already an unofficial term coined known as sharing, which I've never heard of. You as a parent should not be plastering your social media with pictures of your kids, let alone a fucking 1-year-old, on their own Instagram account, because that's the type of shit that leads to future problems. People don't seem to realize just how vulnerable kids can be. This account wasn't even a small account. The child's account already had 2K followers, which is alarming. Have what opinion you will on Michael Jackson. But there's a reason this man decided to always cover up his kids in public, that's ironic. Yeah.
Okay. That's a different topic for another day.
Yeah. Yet people are here flaunting children all over the internet. I get not everyone has bad intentions, but I still think it's creepy having an Instagram account for a 1-year-old, and you as a parent should not be doing so. Again, nothing wrong with taking photos for safekeeping, but why post them on the internet for strangers to see? I really hope this is a popular opinion, because right now it's getting so bad on Instagram. We basically went from don't talk to strangers to look at my child, look at him, to a bunch of strangers.
I have so many thoughts on this. We got time. For one thing, I did not know the word sharing was a term.
Me neither.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
I love that word. I'm going to use it for everything. I'd be like, don't post pictures of my cats. Okay. I'm not sharing my cats on the internet. Well, here's the thing. Before we even get into that, this reminds me of like in high school, we had it was very weird. All the popular girls basically obviously hung out together, but they all did everything together. A lot of them were Mormon, which kind of makes sense why I'm going into this. But once they all became moms, they all started becoming Instagram moms. Every single one of them.
Okay.
Like there wasn't one person in the group that wasn't like, oh, I'm just going to post it's fine to post your kids every once in a while. Like it's a birthday party, baptism. I don't post any photos of my nieces. I want to. I only post them to close friends because it's like, I have so many followers. I don't know who is going to take my niece's photo and AI them into shit. And I also don't know if there's any weirdos following me. Like, it's just, and also kids don't consent to this stuff.
I agree. That's the main problem.
And that's what grosses me out is like, I mean, I don't want to get too into it because then some of them are listening like, bitch, you talking about me? Yeah, I am talking about you. Stop fucking doing that to your children. But it's one of those things where it's like these girls were like, they were very beautiful. They were very gorgeous. They were very fashionable. And then they got to a point where like their moms now, like, how can I monetize this?
Yeah.
I still want people to know that I'm hot, but I need to make it more relevant now. And so they put their kids on there.
Yeah.
It's fucked up.
They put their matching outfits with their kids. They get their hair highlighted and curled. And you're like, I didn't wear makeup till high school, maybe even college. Like mascara on a baby.
Mascara. Well, it's not even just that. It's like, they want sponsorships. Like there's one post that I don't want to bring up physically, but I shared it to my friend. I was like, this is the funniest shit I've ever read. This girl that I know is like an Instagram mom, and she posted this thing where she's like holding her baby and she's breastfeeding, right? And it was the whole like, it was during the time a few years ago when they were like, free the nipple, had so many different meetings, but it was basically like, yeah, women should be breastfeeding in public. Like, this is a completely natural thing. If you are looking at a woman breastfeeding and you're thinking anything sexual, that's fucking weird. But she posted it, and it was a very beautiful photo. She's like her with her baby in public, and she's breastfeeding him. And the caption was saying, like, it was very beautiful. But then at the end of the caption, she said, sponsored by blah, 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 tagged all these brands in it, tagged like Pampers, tagged stuff. It's like, oh, you didn't want to send a message. You wanted this to go viral so that you could get sponsorships out of it.
All the wrong reasons.
Which is so gross. Like trying to monetize a good cause or a good trend for your own, I guess, gain on the internet is so gross. But to do it with your children, it's like your children, are you giving your kids money for all your sponsorships? Are your kids getting paid for this? It was so gross and so like off-putting. It's like if somebody took like Black Lives Matter and was like, okay, well, anyways, I have a joke about Black Lives Matter in my new stand-up special. Yeah. You should check it out now. It's like, what? You're missing the point. So it was just one of those things where it's like, they're trying to get their dollar and they still have that weird narcissism they have from high school, but they can no longer like play on it because they're either married or they're too exhausted. So they're like, okay, I'll make my kids, because moms love going on Instagram and seeing kids do dumb shit. And they love seeing like what kids are into these days. I mean, I get it from my sister. Like she sends me mom TikToks all the time and they're really funny. But a lot of it is like, oh, well, if you like that video, check out my blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you're just plastering your kid for money.
It's like the new version of a pageant mom.
Yeah. That's a good way. That's a really good way of putting it. I was never, thank God, my sister was a pageant girl growing up.
Really?
Yeah. And then she got out of it because my mom was like, this is gross. Like my parents were very good about that. But here's the thing is like, these kids, what's going to happen when they get older and they see that their parents have been plastering them all over the internet?
That'd be creepy and socially, like psychologically fucked up to see like what you were looking like and I don't know what it would do, but it can't be normal.
People posted like their naked babies online.
I know. Free the nip.
Yeah. And they post like their kids outside of diapers, like running around like, look, I'm not saying I look at a naked child and I'm uncomfortable, but I'm saying I'm uncomfortable for your child. Like I wouldn't know what to do if I was like, like imagine if we were born in like the early 2000s. I found out my mom put my like little vagina on the internet. Like, imagine this too. Imagine if one of your kids gets famous when they get older. Like, and somebody's like, oh, well, we've seen your entire childhood. That's why childhood stars are all fucked up.
Look at the Nirvana Baby album cover. That guy complained about his picture being naked.
Yeah. And it's like, he's like, my penis has grown since, but please, for the love of God. And that's another reason why, like, as much as I love all my beloved child stars, it's like so many of them got into drugs and fell off the deep end is because they were exploited at such a vulnerable age. Like their brains weren't fully developed. They got robbed of their childhoods because they were just constantly been bombarded with people who are inappropriate, paparazzi, whatever. It's the same thing on the internet.
Yeah.
There is a famous celebrity. I won't say who it is because I don't want to give the viewers the satisfaction of looking them up. But there's a famous celebrity who has a daughter who got big on Instagram when she was like 14, 15 years old. And she like did like cheerleading, she did dancing, all this stuff. And, you know, because she's young and beautiful, she would, and this is, okay. Lots of thoughts here.
I'm dying to know who.
Lots of thoughts here. Gen Z is so privileged to be able to know how to do their makeup at 14 years old.
Oh my God. I'm still figuring it out.
I just learned how to use highlighter. It has changed my entire, I have gone instantly hotter in the last year just from putting highlighter on my nose.
Yeah, it's not that kids are hotter these days. Is that they just know how to put themselves together. We were pimples in sports t-shirts.
Yeah. And we put like blue eyeliner on.
Oh, I had white.
I shaved my eyebrows off and redrew them.
No way.
I had the chola brows for like 3 years of my life. And I have beautiful eyebrows. I'm like, what am I doing? Because it's like, everyone's like, oh, we didn't like thick eyebrows back then.
No, it was out.
Our natural beauty was us spray tanning the shit out of ourselves and then putting on foundation that was way too dark.
I would gel these two pieces.
Oh, I still do that. It's fine. But no, it's like, and then, so it's like she's posting her face on the internet. She's got beautiful makeup and all the comments are looking amazing, baby, looking amazing, sweetie. And you look at these accounts, they're like 70-year-old men.
To a 14-year-old?
To a 14-year-old girl.
Oh.
And that's the thing is that like, I'm not saying that she is like, I would never say, oh, she's putting that out there and asking for it. It's like, no, there are really messed up people on the internet that find ways to get into things like this.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I can't imagine doing that with like actual children. And we learn so much now about consent. Like, there's a app that I have on my phone called, I think it's called Beauty Cam. I'm not sure, but it's a Japanese filtering app. And there's a filter on it that lets you blur out people's faces behind you, which is amazing. So if you're taking like a picture in a train station, or if you're taking pictures at like a monument and there's people in the background, it automatically will blur the faces for you.
So you're not in the back like...
Yeah, well, also so that people, because it's more like they're really big on consent. So it's like well, they are, but they also have their own problems. But it's like you're blurring people's faces so that they're not caught in your photo.
Yeah, it's always embarrassing when you like zoom into the people in the back. They have no clue they're being photographed right now.
Yeah, there was a YouTube. See, you're like, I'm never going to talk, Lisa. I have so many thoughts on this, okay?
We are going to have mini episodes. I'll have my time.
Yeah,
I'm not worried.
There was a YouTuber that got in trouble years ago for doing that. She was taking pictures in the gym locker room, making fun of somebody for being there.
Really?
Yeah, because the woman was like overweight. And she like took a picture of her and posted online and like got flack for it because it's like, hey, this woman didn't consent to putting your shit on there. But also like you shouldn't be body shaming anyone to begin with. Yeah. And that's a big thing in TikTok now is interviewing people on the streets and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, did these people consent to doing this? No.
I think all of this, the moms, those people, is just everybody being obsessed with wanting attention.
Yeah.
And they're now going to lengths that are so unethical and not funny. They'll do anything.
Yeah.
To just get like
crowd work. You're making content off of someone else's content.
Oh, it's crazy. Reaction videos, that's content out of the content.
I do like, you know what? You did bring up something earlier that I wanted to talk about because you said, also, you spelled obsession O-B-S-S-E-S versus O-B-S-E-S-S.
I keep doing that every time.
I just love that because I do that too. You talked about how when you watch something that you're obsessed with, you want to see someone else's reaction.
Oh, yeah.
See, that's the type of content I do love, though, is that when people do reaction videos, I used to not understand it. And then I was like, well, if you didn't like this show, I want to find someone who does. And it's like, so-and-so reacts to this boss fight. So-and-so reacts to this movie. And like, that's content that I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like, I can relate to that. But most of the time, yeah, it is someone being like, I can't come up with an original idea, so I'm going to exploit my kids or exploit something else so that they make me all the money.
Yeah. I think there's a difference, too, when you're watching people. You can tell a reaction video that is legit, like they mean it versus them faking something you can tell they've watched before trying to get views. You're like, I see through it.
Yeah, like it's not genuine. And like the thing too about kids that's scary is that, you know, the whole goal of these parents that are like putting their kids on the internet is to watch them grow up. They're like, this is a fresh batch of content that's going to last me for years because we're only going to age. So if I just, you know, let's start the journey of when my kid was born until they're blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no.
Just use your dog. Go back to the pug Instagrams. The dog doesn't need consent.
I follow so many cats online.
Use your animals.
Yeah, I want to see a cat grow up. And plus, cats don't even know what if I said, look, you're on the internet, they'd be like, this isn't food. That's really my, but yeah, and it does concern me. Like my sister made her Instagram all private. And I always like, I just want to post pictures of my nieces. But I'm also like, no, I'm not going to do that. They're too beautiful for the internet.
Yeah. My best friend, Grace, she made our logo, Pink Pelican. Shout out. She has the funniest, she has 2 little kids and the funniest videos of them all of the time. And I'm always like, I hate that your account's private because you would go viral. And she's like, not that I want her to do it, but I just see how funny they are. She's just killing it. And then she's like, I don't care. She's like, I don't want anyone to see this besides my followers. And I'm like, it is the way it should be. But man, these are good videos.
Some of them are funny. Like I have a video of my mom where my mom is the little kid in this. I'm just using my mom for clout. No, I have a video where I like set up a Nintendo for my mom and it went super viral on Reddit. And to this day, I still have like all these companies be like, can we use your video? And I would be like, $1,400. No. And it went viral because my mom's reaction is so genuine. She's like, oh my God, I can't believe you set this up, blah, blah. And then there's a clip in it where my mom is teaching my nieces how to play.
Aww.
But she's being like a toxic gamer. Because my niece is like 3. And she's like, let me see. She's like, no. And it's so funny. But it's like stuff like that's funny. Like one of my favorite kid videos of all time, I'm sure you've seen it, was where the girl sees all the seagulls and she's like 3 years old and she goes, look at all these chickens. And
I haven't seen that.
But it's like videos like that are so cute because these are genuine. They're not like, oh, I made my kid do this thing, you know? Like the moms that we talk about, the Instagram moms, the girl doing the breastfeeding stuff, she probably wasn't even breastfeeding her kid.
The baby's like,
she was just like, my makeup looks amazing right now. It was like the funniest thing is it was a photo shoot. And it's like, girl, like I should have read past the bullshit, but it's like those type of people who make the videos of their kids, blah, 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 they're not genuine. They're like, we want a reason for our kids to go viral and we're just going to keep pushing this content until something happens and people follow us.
I'm curious with time, like, because social media, probably I feel like it started when I was maybe Instagram in like college-ish, end of high school. So I feel like social media started 10 years ago. I think it maybe after the quarantine it started the peak of it getting insane. I think social media is probably the biggest, most relatable obsession to everyone right now.
Oh yeah.
And I wonder like to what lengths is it gonna go before
when I meet someone on like a dating app who's like, I don't use social media, I'm like, do you kill people? What do you do? What do you mean you don't use social media?
Yeah.
That's insane to me. Well, it's also, we're starting to see the problems of it because there was that woman that got arrested and is going to prison a couple weeks ago. You probably heard about this. Or maybe a month ago. I don't know this out. But she got arrested because she was a big TikTok mom, giving all these like hot takes, like TikTok, whatever. And she got arrested for abusing her kids.
Really?
And she went to prison for it. Yeah, and because one of her kids came forward about how her mom would handcuff them and force them to not eat, would force them to do labor because they said they had to stay in shape, and they said this is what God's path was for you because she was like a Christian mom.
No.
And then there was another YouTuber that adopted the Chinese baby and then realized she didn't want it and returned it like it was a rescue animal.
What the hell?
Yeah, and it's like, so now you are starting to see how bad the obsessions with social media start to affect the people who are creating it. And the people are into it. And like, I mean, this is a good last thing I want to talk about, the parasocial relationships, which was another topic we wanted to talk about.
Which I didn't know that this was a thing, and I wish it wasn't a thing.
It isn't. Yeah, it's not a good thing. I mean, it is on some level, like me being obsessed with a character is a form of parasocial relationships because it's like, like this character connects to me on an emotional level, even though they're not real. But parasocial relationships in relating to social media is way worse because the people are real, and because social media is the easiest accent to talk to somebody. Like you can go on Nicki Minaj's voice or post and just say things on there.
Wait, can you tell us what the definition, like what it is? Because I didn't even really know what it was at all.
It's basically like a person forms a relationship with somebody who either doesn't know they exist or isn't even on the same level of that. Usually it's like someone who is a fan of someone thinks in their head that that person owes them their time because of how much they're obsessed with them and how much they watch their content or like their music. And then that person just like, I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And it's a very real thing right now that is very bad. Like you'll see people who subscribe to like people on OnlyFans or like YouTube, blah, blah, blah. And they'd be like, well, I gave you money on your tier and blah, blah, blah. Like, why won't you pay attention to me? That is a form of parasocial. It's like, because this person invests so much time into this other person that they have this idea that that person owes them something.
So it's kind of like if you're at the bar and if you're at a bar and a guy buys you a drink and then he now thinks that you have to talk to him. Or sleep with him.
I would say that is more of a guy being a creep. But yes, but that is kind of like a real life version of it where it's like there's not an even between that person and the person who likes them. And you see it big on Instagram and whatnot. You'll have people who like, I've had this happen before where people would come out to every single one of my comedy shows, like someone who likes my stuff on Instagram, which is fine. I love the support, but then they like want to hang out and like hover around me and like talk to me like we're friends. And I just want to be like, buddy, I think it's great that you support me, but I'm not your friend. And like, I've had to break that down to people. And it same thing has happened with celebrities. Like there's people who will go to every single concert for one specific artist or every single show. And they'd be like, oh, because I'm a huge fan one day, like they're going to notice me, or like I'm friends with this person.
Yeah.
This happened to me like 2 weeks ago,
God.
to somebody. I met a guy at a show and he was like, oh, do you know so-and-so? I was like, yeah, they're one of my close friends. He goes, me too. And I was like, that's awesome. And in my head, I was like, oh, that's great. We know the same person.
Yeah, they're safe. We have a friend.
And of course I messaged her. Let's be real. It was a guy saying he knew a girl. And I messaged the girl and she goes, I don't know him.
Oh, what did
she
you
was
instantly
like,
go?
oh yeah. She goes, I followed him because he interviewed me at a show once, but like we're not friends. I was like, oh, he made it sound like you were really close friends. And of course, like I immediately unfollowed them because I'm like, that's just, but people have this idea because I've associated you with in real life or online means that we have a connection.
Yeah.
And I think with the big thing about people being obsessed with social media, they find creators or they find people who have the kids and they're like, I'm obsessed with that person. And then those people form unhealthy relationships with them. And the moral story is please don't do that. That's all.
I think that is an unhealthy obsession.
Yeah. I have met people. I mean, I'm sure you've met people from comedy shows that love your comedy and you've been friends with them.
Yeah.
Or people are like, oh, I loved your comedy, blah, blah. And like, I've worked with people who just liked my streams. I've done photography with people who are like, I want to take pictures of you. And that's fine. But like, they don't put themselves in a position where I owe them anything.
Yeah. I have a few people that have gotten to that level. And I feel like I've tried to think like right now, before you get famous, use these small learning lessons to how to deal with people in the future. Like don't send them your real address if they want to send you something. And you don't always have to reply to their DMs to be nice.
Sometimes I purposely leave them on read. Just so they know that I do not give a fuck.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Like,
so you've learned.
Yeah. And like, I still struggle with it. Like I've had my friends be like, you're too nice to them. Tell them to fuck off. And it's like, I can't because naturally as a woman, you don't want to make a man angry. It's just in our DNA or whatever. And my friend's like, no, fuck that. I have a friend who's like, she's huge on OnlyFans. Like she has millions of followers. She's my sugar mama. And she is just straight up like, hey, buddy, fuck off. And I'm like, oh, I want that power. And she's like, you just have to. Like, you just have to, because people, not saying that every person who has a parasocial relationship is dangerous, but sometimes they really don't understand social cues.
Yeah.
Or they don't have, they just don't get it. So you really have to be harsh with them. It's like, buddy, I told you to go away and you didn't, so fuck off.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm going to say, that's what they teach you. But like, You learn that growing up with dating too, that you don't speak up because you think if you speak up, it's going to scare the person away, when it's not how it is. If you just speak your mind, it's not a bad thing.
I think also we naturally, I don't know, as women or entertainers, we put other people's comforts first before us because we don't want to look bad.
Yeah.
But because of the age of internet and social media and all this stuff, you have to no, your comfort is your comfort. I'm very vulnerable about things like that. Like, don't send me weird DMs. Like, sorry I haven't replied to everybody. Or on my stream, I'll get mad at, stop asking me questions about my dating life. That's weird. Because it's you have to set boundaries with people. And I love how we transitioned in this, because it's true. It's the same thing with these kids getting to an age. I'm trying to relate it back. When you're 12 years old, you gotta set a boundary with your weird Instagram mom to stop posting pictures of your small wiener. Just stop doing that.
It's that simple.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a thing. We could talk about social media all day. But I do want to get in before we close up. If you've made it this far, that means that you like us. Thank you.
Or you're wondering when this will end. No, just kidding.
But before we wrap it up, since this is the first episode, I'd like to dive in a little bit more about who we are and how we got here. We got here together, we told you, but just how we got to LA and what we do and who we are. I'll start. I'll do me really
start,
quick.
I've been taking over this whole podcast.
No. So I've been in LA for 10 years now. You're not on camera, Lisa did not just spill her Celsius. I also like how I always bring bubbly drinks and I'm always burping and spilling things. I did an episode the other day. I just had a watermark on my lip. I was like, cool, didn't notice that was there. But okay, so I've been in LA for 10 years. I started stand-up and improv in Florida while I was getting my business degree, which I didn't want to get. But I did that anyways, and I'm not smart. I didn't learn anything. I think I Christmas treed all of my tests, but C's get degrees, and I did it. So out here, I started at the Groundlings Theater and School, where I felt less than, and everyone at the Groundlings is so talented.
Including you.
Oh God, I had fun. I did it for 7 years, and then I was like, I can't keep juggling improv and stand up because you just need to really pick a lane at a certain point. So I've been just doing stand up for the last 4 years, no improv, and then the best choice I've ever made. But I'm sure doing improv has helped me on stage. I didn't waste all my money and time.
No,
it's totally fine.
You have amazing stage presence.
It's totally fine. Thanks. Totally great. But right now I just stand up and I love podcasting and I'm excited about doing this. And you'll learn a lot more about me, but this is going to be fun.
Yeah. And then I just moved to LA last May. So I'm a baby here. But before that, I was in Seattle my whole life. I've done stand-up off and on for almost 10 years now. But I really, really got more serious about it than ever after the pandemic, which was I was already 7 years in. But I was like, bitch, just fucking do it. And then I just obsessively just kept trying to get booked for shows. I started doing mics again, blah, blah. And it's been, again, one of the best decisions ever. And then I also stream on Twitch, which helps me want to do stand-up more. Twitch is my improv because it makes me even though I don't think it does, I have noticed that my comedy is so much better now and more structured now that I stream. I'm more comfortable because I'm so used to being on camera live that I'm not scared of fucking up. And I'm also not scared if I say something funny and don't get an immediate reaction. I stream on Twitch, but I also do hosting and content production for a bunch of different companies. I've worked with Sega and IGN, and because I have an extensive knowledge on things that people shouldn't have extensive knowledge on, which video game characters I want to fuck and stuff like that. And people are like, we love it. We'll hire you for something. So that's basically my story. And now we're doing this podcast based around obsessions, and we both do stand-up, and I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, and then hopefully eventually we'll go on the road together and you guys can come see us live. All right, let's do some plugs. So this is going to be, we're at the first week of February. I said it like you spell it, February. February. And I've got some plugs. I'm going to be in Boston the first weekend of February. And then the second week of February, I will be in Tampa, Florida, Boca Raton, Florida. And then I think one other part of Florida. I just go to mandymartino.com. My other podcast is Misery Loves Mandy. You have to check Lisa's episode if you just want more of us. And we'll have episodes out each Thursday. Yep. And what do you have to plug?
I stream on Twitch. I have like no comedy shows coming up, but I kind of did that on purpose because I got burnt out of reaching out to bookers and just want to focus on getting my gaming stuff done.
You were just doing so many shows. Don't let her say that. She just did a festival.
I just did a bunch of stuff in Seattle where you get paid. And the only other thing I really have coming up is I'm doing a comedy festival in Boise in March, which I'm excited about. But right now, my big focus is just trying to get more gaming stuff because that's where the opportunities are. But also, we are going to be setting up a Patreon too.
Yes.
Which we're really excited about because that way we can have people who subscribe can put in their own weird obsessions or something that they saw that was trending on the deep dive dark web or whatever. And then we'll talk about it exclusively just to people who subscribe to us. And we also may have had some previous episodes that we've recorded that we might release some clips on there as well too. So it'll be really fun and it'll help us get the ball rolling. And so Lisa doesn't have to find a real job this year.
Yeah, you guys, we need your support. Also, so for the Patreon, if you have something, we'll put the email below, but it's Weirdly Obsessed Pod. Obsessed has 2 S's after the first one S.
It's spelled correctly, yes.
So please send in your obsessions and we'll talk all about you and we're going to deep dive and learn about your obsessions as well, which I'm excited about. So yeah, thank you guys for watching.
Yes, and we're excited and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Bye.